What happens when one of Hollywood's most beloved actors walks into what should be a routine interview, only to face a host seemingly determined to turn it into a spectacle? Today, we dive into the explosive clash between Michael J. Fox and Joy Behar, a confrontation that left viewers stunned and ultimately saw Fox escorted off the View set. This isn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong. It's a stark example of how personal agendas and media bias can transform a simple conversation into a battlefield. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. This story will make you question everything you thought you knew about daytime TV. Backstage at The View, the green room buzzed with its usual pre-show energy. Michael J. Fox sat quietly, reviewing notes for what was supposed to be a straightforward segment promoting his latest Parkinson's Research Foundation initiative. His publicist, Sandra, paced nearby, scrolling through her phone for last-minute updates. "Michael, they bumped up your segment. You're on first instead of second," she said, a hint of concern in her voice. "That's fine," Michael replied steadily, despite the tremor that had grown over the years. "I'm ready to talk about the Foundation's new research partnerships. The work we're doing with stem cell therapy is really promising." Meanwhile, in the main studio, Joy Behar was having a very different conversation. Reviewing her notes, her expression was anything but pleased. "I don't understand why we're giving this guy a platform," she muttered to her producer, Rachel. "He's been pushing this research agenda for years. Aren't people tired of the same story?" Rachel shifted uncomfortably. "Joy, the audience loves Michael J. Fox. His foundation has raised millions for Parkinson's research. He's incredibly respected." "Respected by who?" Joy shot back, her voice sharp. "Look, I get that he's sick, but that doesn't mean we give him a free pass to promote whatever cause he wants. This is a news show, not a charity telethon." The other co-hosts, Whoopi Goldberg, Sarah Haynes, and Alyssa Farah Griffin, overheard. "Joy, what are you talking about?" Whoopi asked. "Michael J. Fox is here to discuss breakthrough research that could help millions. That's exactly the story we should cover." Joy waved dismissively. "You're too soft, Whoopi. This guy has been dining on his diagnosis for decades. We need to ask the hard questions. How much of this foundation money goes to research versus administration? Why should taxpayers fund stem cell research over other priorities?" Sarah looked confused. "Joy, his foundation has one of the highest efficiency ratings of any major charity. Over 85% of donations go directly to research." "According to who?" Joy challenged. "According to his own marketing materials? Come on, Sarah, you're smarter than that." Back in the green room, Sandra's phone rang. It was Rachel. "Sandra, heads up," Rachel said tensely. "Joy's in one of her moods today. She's planning some pointed questions about the Foundation's finances and methods. Just wanted Michael to be prepared." Sandra frowned. "Pointed questions?" "This was supposed to be about the new stem cell partnerships, the progress we're making." "I know," Rachel said. "But Joy wants to push harder. She thinks Michael gets too easy a ride." Michael overheard and touched Sandra's arm. "It's okay. I can handle whatever she throws at me. I've been dealing with skeptics my whole career. The research speaks for itself." As they were called to set, even Michael couldn't anticipate the hostility awaiting him. Walking backstage, he could hear Joy's voice cutting through the studio. "Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest claims groundbreaking progress in Parkinson's research, but today, we're digging a little deeper into what that really means." Whoopi shot her a warning look. "Joy, keep it professional." "I am being professional, Whoopi," Joy said. "Professional means asking the questions others are too scared to ask." On set, the lights blazed bright. The atmosphere felt more like a courtroom than a talk show. Michael took his seat, adjusted his microphone, and smiled at the co-hosts, noting Joy's cold glare. "Welcome back to The View," Whoopi announced as they returned from commercial. "We're here with actor and activist Michael J. Fox, discussing his foundation's latest research initiatives. Michael, it's great to have you here," Sarah added warmly. "Can you tell us about these new partnerships you've formed with research institutions? Alyssa asked, offering a soft opening. Michael smiled, grateful for the easy start. Thank you for having me. We're really excited about our collaborations with Johns Hopkins and Stanford. We've identified some promising pathways in stem cell therapy that could potentially slow, or even reverse, some motor symptoms of Parkinson's. That sounds incredible, Alyssa said. How close are we to actual treatments being available to patients? We're still in early trials, Michael replied. But the preliminary results are encouraging. If funding and regulatory approval continue, we could see these therapies widely available in 5 to 7 years. Before he could elaborate, Joy Behar leaned forward, her tone sharp and accusatory. Michael, I have to ask something I think viewers are wondering, she said. You've run this foundation for over 20 years, always asking for more donations, more government funding. At what point is enough? Enough? The studio fell silent. Michael's brow furrowed in confusion. I'm sorry, Joy. I don't quite understand. Let me be more direct, Joy pressed. Your foundation has raised hundreds of millions, yet here you are, still asking for more. Promising breakthroughs that always seem just out of reach. How do we know this is about curing Parkinson's and not about keeping the Michael J. Fox brand alive? The accusation hung heavy. Shock and hurt flashed across Michael's face, quickly replaced by quiet determination. The co-hosts looked mortified. Whoopi even gasped audibly into her microphone. Michael took a deep breath, his hands trembling. Not just from Parkinson's, but from the audacity of the claim. Joy, in 35 years of interviews, that might be the most insulting question I've ever been asked. Oh, come on, Michael, Joy shot back, undeterred. Don't play the victim. You've built an empire around this disease. Book deals, speaking fees, gala events where celebrities pay to feel good about themselves. Someone has to ask the hard questions. Sarah Haynes tried to intervene. Joy, maybe we should focus on the research achievements. No, Sarah, Joy snapped, her voice rising. This is exactly what we should be discussing. We treat celebrities like saints just because they're sick. Your foundation's filings show you receive compensation as a board member. How much money have you made off your own disease? The audience murmured uneasily, some shouting, Leave him alone. But Joy pressed on. Joy, I think you've been misinformed, Michael said, voice steady, but eyes revealing his pain. I don't receive any compensation from the Michael J. Fox Foundation. In fact, my wife and I have personally donated millions to support research. According to who? Joy challenged. Your accountants? Your PR team? I'm not taking your word anymore. Alyssa finally spoke up. Joy, this is inappropriate. Michael J. Fox's foundation is rated as one of the most efficient and transparent charities worldwide by independent watchdogs. Joy waved her off. Those watchdogs are probably funded by the same pharmaceutical companies benefiting from his grants. This is how the game works. You create a disease narrative, stir emotion, and funnel money to your corporate partners. Michael's jaw tightened. Joy, are you seriously suggesting I'm faking my symptoms? Or that Parkinson's isn't real? I'm not saying you're faking anything, Joy replied, though her tone suggested otherwise. I'm saying you've weaponized your condition to build a financial empire, asking hardworking Americans to fund research that might never produce results while living in a mansion in Connecticut. The audience grew restless, shouting and booing. Whoopi tried to regain control. Okay, we need to calm this down, she said. No, Whoopi, Joy insisted. We need to ask why this man gets a free pass when others with chronic illnesses don't get celebrity foundations or gala fundraisers. What makes Michael J. Fox so special? Michael answered with quiet dignity, his calm highlighting the cruelty of Joy's attacks. What makes me special, Joy, is that I had a platform when I was diagnosed, and I chose to use it to help others suffering from the same condition. I could have retreated from public life, but I didn't, because I believed I had a responsibility to use whatever influence I had to make a difference, Michael said, his voice calm but resolute. Oh, please, Joy scoffed. "Spare me the noble sacrifice speech. You used your diagnosis to revive a career that was already fading. Family Ties was over. Your movie career was stalling. And suddenly, you had a new angle to stay relevant." The cruelty of her words silenced even her usual supporters in the audience. Sarah Haynes looked on, close to tears. "Joy, that's enough," she said firmly. "You've gone way too far." Michael raised a hand. "No, Sarah, let her finish. I want to hear what other brilliant insights Joy has about my life and motivations." Joy, oblivious to his sarcasm, leaned in, relentless. "Fine, you want me to finish? Here's what I think. You've convinced yourself you're a hero, but really, you're just another celebrity monetizing tragedy. And the worst part? You've got everyone else convinced too." Michael's voice remained calm, but steel edged every word. "You know what the worst part is, Joy? The worst part is that millions of people are watching this show right now. People living with Parkinson's or caring for loved ones who do. And you're telling them that the research we're doing to help them is somehow fraudulent or self-serving." Joy shrugged, seemingly unconcerned. Michael turned to the camera, his expression fierce but composed. "For anyone watching with Parkinson's or any neurological condition, don't let this cynicism stop you. There are real scientists doing real work to find real cures, and they need our support." Joy's face burned with indignation. "Don't try to turn this on me. I'm asking legitimate questions journalists should have asked years ago." "You're not asking questions, Joy," Michael said, his voice rising for the first time. "You're making baseless accusations, spreading conspiracy theories about medical research, and targeting someone who lives with the very condition you claim is being exploited." "I never said the condition was exploited," Joy stammered. "You said you were exploiting it," Michael corrected. "That's even worse," Whoopi interjected, finally losing patience. "Joy, you need to apologize right now." "I'm not apologizing for doing my job," Joy shot back. "Someone has to hold these people accountable." Michael leaned forward, deliberate, unwavering. "Hold me accountable for what, exactly? For dedicating my life to treatments for a disease that affects over 10 million people worldwide? For using my platform to raise awareness and funding for research? For continuing this work, even as my own?" "Symptoms worsen? For making millions doing it," Joy replied without missing a beat. The studio erupted. Booing filled the air. Some audience members rose and headed for the exits. Whoopi frantically signaled producers to cut to commercial, but Joy kept talking. "You can boo me all you want, but someone has to ask these questions. Somebody has to point out that the Emperor has no clothes." Michael's response was calm, devastating in its precision. "Joy, the only person here without clothes is you. You'd rather attack a person with a chronic illness than spend 5 minutes researching the work my foundation actually does." Tension reached a breaking point. Joy's face flushed with anger, oblivious that she'd lost not just the audience, but her co-hosts as well. "You know what, Michael?" she said, mocking. "Maybe if you spent less time at fancy galas and more time in the lab, you'd have found a cure by now." The comment sucked the air from the room. Michael's composure wavered for a moment. Even he was visibly shaken. "Excuse me?" he said quietly, but the weight in his voice carried through the studio. Whoopi had had enough. "That's it. We're done here. Joy, you've completely lost it." "I'm lost?" Joy shot back. "I'm the only one with the courage to ask real questions. Everyone else is too starstruck to do their job." "My job," Sarah said, voice trembling, "isn't to attack guests who come here in good faith. My job isn't to spread conspiracy theories about medical research." "Oh, spare me the righteousness, Sarah," Joy snapped. "You all act like I committed a crime. I asked tough questions. That's journalism." Michael rose from his chair, movement deliberate, dignified, even as his hands trembled. "Joy, I've been interviewed by some of the toughest journalists in the world. Mike Wallace, Barbara Walters, Anderson Cooper. None of them ever questioned my basic humanity or suggested I was profiting from my own suffering. Well, maybe they should have, Joy shot back, unable to stop. No, Michael said firmly now, his voice stronger than it had been all morning. Maybe you should learn the difference between journalism and cruelty, Michael said, his voice calm but piercing. Asking tough questions doesn't mean abandoning basic human decency. The audience erupted in applause, a thunderous response that lasted nearly 30 seconds. Joy looked around, frustrated that her attacks weren't landing. You can clap all you want, she shot back, but in 6 months, when he's back here asking for more money with another foundation story, remember this conversation. That was the final straw. Michael looked directly at her, his words carrying the weight of 3 decades battling Parkinson's and confronting doubt. Joy, I want you to listen carefully. In my 30 years living with Parkinson's, I've met thousands of patients and families struggling with this disease. I've watched people lose the ability to walk, speak, feed themselves. Brilliant minds trapped in bodies that no longer respond. And in all that time, through all that pain, I have never encountered anyone as callous and cruel as you have been here today. The studio was dead silent. Even the camera operators paused. You want to question my foundation's finances? Fine, public record. Question the effectiveness of our research? Great. Talk to the scientists at Harvard, Stanford, and Johns Hopkins doing the work, but don't ever suggest that people suffering from neurological diseases are less deserving of help because you don't like the messenger. Joy seemed momentarily speechless, but quickly recovered her antagonistic stance. I never said people don't deserve help, she protested weakly. Yes, you did, Alyssa Farah Griffin interjected. You implied Michael's foundation is fraudulent. You suggested Parkinson's research is a scam. You mocked him for not finding a cure fast enough. Michael began removing his microphone, his voice steady and firm. I came here to talk about hope, about real scientific breakthroughs that could help millions. Instead, I've been subjected to a character assassination based on cynicism and conspiracy theories. Where are you going? Joy demanded, as if she still controlled the room. I'm leaving. Michael said simply, I don't have to sit here and listen to someone question my integrity and motives when all I've ever tried to do is help people going through what I'm going through. Whoopi stood as well. Michael, I'm so sorry. This isn't what The View is supposed to be about. I know, Whoopi, Michael replied graciously. You've always been a class act. This isn't on you. Joy wasn't done. You can walk out, but that doesn't change the questions I raised. Running away doesn't make you right. Michael stopped, turned back, and addressed her one final time. Joy, I'm not running from your questions. I'm walking away from your cruelty. There's a difference, though I don't expect you to understand it. Don't be so dramatic, Joy called after him. Michael paused at the edge of the set, facing the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, real journalism is about seeking truth and informing the public. What you witnessed here today was something else entirely. To anyone watching with Parkinson's, or any condition affecting your daily life, don't let this discourage you from advocating for yourself and seeking the help you deserve. As he walked off the set, the audience gave him a standing ovation lasting over a minute. Many were openly crying, shouting support for him, and criticizing Joy. Joy, astonishingly, misread the reaction. See? This is what I'm talking about. He can't handle tough questions, so he plays the victim and gets everyone emotional. Sarah Haynes, tears in her eyes, countered. Joy, what you did today wasn't journalism. It was bullying, cruel, wrong. I disagree, Joy replied defiantly. And I'd do it again. Producers frantically signaled from off-camera, trying to salvage the show, but the damage was done. Whoopi looked into the camera. We're taking a break, she announced, voice heavy with emotion. When we return, we'll have a very different conversation. As the lights dimmed and cameras cut, the shift in the studio was palpable. Joy sat alone at the panel, isolated from co-hosts and facing an audience that had turned entirely against her. Backstage, Michael was surrounded by crew and staffers offering apologies for what they'd witnessed. A confrontation meant to showcase Joy's tough journalism had instead revealed her cruelty, her willingness to weaponize another person's suffering for controversy. For viewers at home, the contrast couldn't have been clearer. One dignified man fighting a devastating disease, and a host attacking him for it. As Michael left the building, he carried himself with the same grace and dignity he had shown throughout his career. Joy Behar, on the other hand, had exposed exactly who she was, and no backtracking could erase it. What was meant to promote hope and scientific progress had instead become a masterclass in the difference between asking tough questions and being cruel. For anyone watching, the real lesson wasn't about research funding or celebrity activism, it was about basic human decency. If you made it this far, subscribe to stay updated on the latest celebrity news and behind-the-scenes drama, and drop a comment below. What do you think motivated Joy Behar to attack Michael J. Fox so viciously?